No female lead plus Ultraman plus Kamen Rider plus Ensemble special camera plus Ensemble manga plus Ensemble game, Ophiino, the evolutionary form of human beings, was awakened after a death experienced by humans with specific conditions. But that's the setting of the neighboring Kamen Rider crew. Why did I become this thing in Ultraman's world? Xiao Yixing traveled through the world of Ultraman, but became Ophienor, still in the black-hearted enterprise, EP1-10. Afterwards, he was forced to get involved in the original storyline of being expelled from Austria, which can be said to be the Passion of Gagula. I feel like these people are all a bit mentally ill. Can I turn them all into ashes? Chapter 1. The Peak of Warriors. You are listening at novel-full.audio. Planet EP1-10 at the top of the warrior's feet. In a rundown wooden cabin. A handsome man stood against the wall. He is about 1.9 meters tall, with a robust and symmetrical physique, full muscles, and clear lines. Her hair was jet black, her eyes were deep brown, and she was wearing a tattered gray-black cloth shirt, holding two short-handled sickles. The ground beside the feet is filled with various bizarre humanoid creatures. Sigh. What's going on here? The man's name is Xiao Yixing. He was originally just an ordinary college student, but when he was picking up a package from school, he accidentally rolled down the stairs and fell to death on the spot. And then I crossed over. It is not difficult to infer that it is Ultraman's world based on the scattered cosmologists around him. But his current species is also something from the neighboring Kamen Rider shelter. Ophiino. It is a form of human evolution, formed by humans with specific conditions awakening after experiencing a death. Although each Ophiino has only a variety of black, white, and gray body colors, they all have certain characteristics and corresponding abilities of Earth's flora and fauna. And Xiao Yixing's characteristics are similar to those of Cordyceps sinensis, also known as parasitic fungi of Cordyceps fungi. His Ophiino form also resembles a humanoid Cordyceps sinensis. Its head resembles both a helmet and the front half of a caterpillar's body. There are many disorderly, twisted, and asymmetrically distributed corner-shaped objects on top. But those are actually not horns, but fruiting bodies that Cordyceps fungus grows after penetrating the host's body, so they are all soft. As for the other parts of the body, they are similar to ancient Roman gladiators. The thighs and most of the torso seem unprotected, completely exposed, and even every muscle line can be seen clearly. As for ability, it is also similar to Cordyceps. Xiao Yixing can infect and control others through methods such as spore eruption and tentacle injection, regardless of whether they are alive or dead. The living infected individuals will fall into a deep sleep and then transform into Ophienol in their sleep. The people in the universe who collapsed in the room were different, they were all transformed from corpses into Ophiino. However, Xiao Yixing found it troublesome, so he didn't let them move. Through this method, almost 100% conversion can be achieved, unlike ordinary Ophienor, which has a probability of only about 1 in 1,000. But in Ultraman's world, this alone is definitely not enough. After all, most of the high-end combat forces here have enormous capabilities, and no matter how many similar transformations Xiao Yixing makes, they will be trampled to death. So he decided to climb to the top of the warrior. Although EP1-10 is a famous and scrupulous enterprise in the Ultraman series. But for Xiao Yixing now, the worst thing is that he didn't catch anything like Gagula. He doesn't have any obsession, it doesn't matter whether he takes it or not. Hello. Gagula. There's a place to take shelter here. Suddenly, a voice came from outside the door. According to the content of the obedience, the people who came should be Red Kai and Gagula, who are still called Kai now. Wow. What's going on here? As soon as Kai opened the door, he saw various cosmic beings lying on the ground. TSK. There's nowhere to stay. Gagula scanned the ground and loudly questioned Xiao Yixing, "Hey. Did you do all this?" "Yeah," Xiao Yixing nodded slightly, while a green swirling light pattern resembling mosquito coils flashed in his eyes. "Get up, everyone." As soon as the words fell, a group of cosmic beings stood up to make room for Kai and Gagula. "Are you also the ones who want to challenge the warrior's peak?" "It seems I have a companion," Xiao Yixing said with a smile. "Aren't they your companions?" Kai pointed to the cosmonauts, Ophiino. Xiao Yixing pushed away the cicada human who was trying to stick with him and answered, "A group of mentally disabled zombies who can only barely understand instructions, not considered companions." As he spoke, Xiao Yixing took the group of cosmonauts, Ophiino, into the storage space. He doesn't know when he has this ability, but he can use it anyway. Afterwards, the three of them chatted briefly and embarked on the journey to the top of the warrior. After an unknown amount of time, the three of them braved the piercing cold wind and merciless blizzard, grabbed the almost vertical stone wall, and climbed to the top of the warrior. The first person to reach the summit was Gagula. He eagerly reached into the circle of light, but was bounced off by a repulsive force, almost falling off the cliff. The second one to arrive was Xiao Yixing, who also tried to reach in with his hand. He was not excluded, and he also felt a force injected into his body. But according to the information that appeared simultaneously in his mind, what he received was the power to transform into a monster. It's not from the Grugio family yet, it's an unheard-of monster called Inhuras. However, he is quite handsome, and his body structure is also close to human form. The overall image is a sheep-head man with elements of both barbarians and demons. Xiao Yixing is also a deep monster fan and Furue controller, so he is relatively satisfied with this result. The last one to come up is Kai. And he obtained the Ob Holy Sword, possessing the power to transform into Ob Ultraman. Why am I the only one with nothing? Gagula had mixed feelings in his heart, unable to understand why the Ring of Light was treating him so badly. On the other hand, the Obu Holy Sword has written runes in the sky and dispatched missions. What is that? Kai doesn't have much experience yet and doesn't know what it means. Xiao Yixing, as a traveler, naturally couldn't understand what was written on it. Therefore, only Gagula can understand and paraphrase. "It's conveying your mission to you." "No, it's the mission of the three of us." "Ah." Upon hearing this, Xiao Yixing was bewildered. He knew that Kai's first task after obtaining the Light of Ob was the storyline of the primordial stage. That thing can be considered a must-see material for abnormal human research centers. Except for Gagula, no one in the plot is normal, either their brain is abnormal or their combat power is abnormal. He originally intended to give it a simple try and then turn around and run away, but the Black Heart Circle directly packed himself in. Xiao Yixing could only sigh helplessly about this. Ah. The first task requires 3 people to form a team, it seems not easy. As he spoke, he grabbed Kai's clothes. The same goes for Gagula. Kai immediately raised the Holy Sword of Ob and let it take off with him. Speaking of which, where are we going and what are we doing? Kai turned back and asked, the text disappeared too quickly just now, I didn't see it clearly. Passing through the Star Gate and heading to the Sagittarius Galaxy in another universe, the cosmic demon Balisib is causing chaos there. Finding the mastermind behind it is our mission this time. Gagula's summary was concise and to the point, and Kai immediately understood it. Well, I understand now. After speaking, Kai stopped speaking and headed straight for the Star Gate. In no time, they successfully crossed the Star Gate and arrived at the target universe. Did you hear me? There seems to be a cry for help nearby. Kai seemed to notice something and immediately turned the direction, charging towards a earthy yellow planet. Hey! Where are you going? Chapter 2. The Cosmic Devil Balisib. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kai's speed was very fast, and soon he landed on the surface of the planet with himself and the other 2 people. As soon as it landed, Kai began to frantically search for someone. Don't rely solely on intuition, how could you hear any cries for help in the universe, said Gagula as he ran behind him. When I was in the rescue team, I heard impossible screams multiple times. They were not sounds, but heartfelt distress signals. Kai explained while running, and Gagula realized that it was Kai's ability, so he stopped blocking it. I feel like a light bulb. Xiao Yixing followed at the end, silently looking at the two of them. Found it. In the mountain cabin, Kai found a child who was injured and unconscious. During his rescue efforts, a man and a woman suddenly rushed out of the corner and launched an attack on Gagula and Xiao Yixing. These two people are not opponents of Gagula and Xiao Yixing at all, they basically only have a chance of being beaten. But at the critical moment of victory, the child woke up and began shouting at the two people for their parents. In an instant, Gagula became wary of mice and fell into a disadvantage. But it happened to hit the muzzle of Xiao Yixing's gun. The monster in Huras, which he has acquired, happens to be skilled in hypnosis and manipulating dreams. So Xiao Yixing immediately transformed into an equal-sized Inchuras and released a hypnotic light resembling an aurora to the two of them. They immediately fell to sleep and were carried into the cabin by Gagula to settle down. As soon as Gagula entered the room with his front foot, a cosmic demon, Balisib, descended from the sky and hit the position where he had just stood. It's that monster. It turned parents into this. The child angrily pointed at Balisib, accusing it of its crimes. Kaiden's head was hot-blooded, and he lifted the Ob Holy Sword to transform into the initial form of Ob Ultraman. Kai. That's the cosmic demon Balisib, be careful not to get poisoned by its puppet, Gagula shouted on the side. In Huras is prepared to engage in massive battles at any time. He used to be immature and had fully read the beginning of his original life, so he had a clear understanding of how talented Kai was during this period. As expected, Kai performed an opening amplification as soon as he came up, but he couldn't suppress the recoil of the light, resulting in a complete tilt of the shot. What are you doing? You need to stand firm. Gagula shouted with resentment. Upon hearing this, Ob Chao Gagula nodded and then lowered his body to shoot again. This time it hit Balisib and also broke the claw on its left arm. Balisib, who was suffering from pain, let out a roar and then fired a destructive light towards Ob. Quickly dodge. This time it was Xiao Yixing giving instructions. Ob followed suit and narrowly avoided the blow while rubbing against it. But Balisib saw that this move was useless, so he spread his wings and collided with Ob. Ob once again planned to forcefully take over, but was unable to keep up with Gagula and commanded again. Don't confront head-on, dodge its attack from below. Before he could finish speaking, Ob slid a shovel and rushed below Balisib, shooting a glowing line from his unprotected belly. This time it directly exploded Balisib. Then Ob turned back to Kai and continued to take care of the child in the cabin. Axing, can we only keep them sleeping like this? Kai looked at the children's parents and asked Xiao Yixing anxiously. Until we find a way to relieve the puppet poison, we can only do this, said Xiao Yixing, feeling powerless. Mom and Dad. Can't you wake up anymore? The child said in a crying voice. Upon seeing this, Xiao Yixing crouched down to wipe away the child's tears and softly said. Not forever. After our brothers defeat the villain who manipulates monsters, your parents will recover and wake up. Then I'll go beat the bad guys too. The child waved his arms and said angrily. No way, you're leaving. Who will take care of your parents? Don't worry, the brothers will come back safely, and your parents will be fine too. After some persuasion, the child finally agreed to stay and take care of their parents in a safe place. Looking at the child who was about to bear the heavy burden of the family at a young age, Kai secretly made up his mind. I will never let such a tragedy happen again before my eyes. Didn't it mean we left him alone? Why do we have to carry their entire family now? Gagula, who was carrying the child's father behind his back, said she didn't understand. If no other survivors are found, why should such a small child take care of the three members of the family? The mother Xiao Yixing replied, carrying the child behind his back. Ah, Xing is right, I just thought the same way, Kai Fu, who was carrying the child behind his back, agreed. Ah. Okay. Gagula couldn't resist the other two, so he had to follow them in their search. Not long after, they arrived near a sinkhole, where several houses were scattered sporadically. Kai pointed to those houses and said, there should be someone there who can take care of them. Wait. Gagula tried to stop Kai, who wanted to jump directly. The magnetic field here seems a bit chaotic. Before the words could be finished, Kai jumped down on his own. Can you listen to me well, kid? Gagula complained while jumping down with Kai. Ah. I'm almost full of dog food. Xiao Yixing followed closely behind. After entering the pit, Gagula sighed, it's too quiet here. Can you stop saying such things in the future? Kai suddenly stopped Gagula. Why? Gagula expressed confusion. Kai replied solemnly, as long as someone says these words, a big disaster will come. Yes, this trip with you is definitely a great disaster in Gagula's life. Xiao Yixing roast in his heart. Boom boom. A strange noise came from all directions. There is indeed something here, speculated Gagula. It's on top. The three of them looked up at the same time and saw a huge monster bird floating above their heads. The cosmic monster Bamontistan, exclaimed Xiao Yixing. We need to quickly find a place to hide. Gagula began to look around. I knew I couldn't say that. Kai's focus was somewhat peculiar. However, in the end, all three of them found a shelter to hide from. Gagula looked at the landing of Bamunstan and said, go to battle quickly. You two should be able to become the same size as it. Then this child and his family will be handed over to you. Kai handed the child over to Gagula and pointed to the nearby cabin. The residents here are probably in the houses over there. After speaking, Kai and Xiao Yixing rushed out. Only Gagula remained behind the cover and shouted, don't always rely on intuition to speak. Then he took his child and his parents to the small house pointed out by Kai. There are indeed survivors inside, and they are also a family of three. This guy's intuition is still as accurate as ever, it's terrifying. Chapter 3. Spacecraft. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 4. Sudden Death. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 5. Battle in the Tower. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 6. Endless Dreams. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 7. The New Universe. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 8. Practical Testing. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 9. Evil Generals. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 10. Visitors from the Other Universe. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text.